Did you know that in ancient Rome, a man named Commodus had amputees gathered from the city, brought to the Colosseum, and had them tied together so that he could beat them to death? And that this was entertainment? In the next episode, some desperate souls were tied to boxes, wheeled out on dollies, nailed to crosses. Animals were flogged into a frenzy to feast on flesh, and in the crowd they made bets about which of the helpless men these beasts would feast on next. Those barbarians. Who would ever get together to watch people get slaughtered? Anyway, who's excited for the Game of Thrones finale? 8 seasons, 38 Emmy Awards, over 30 million viewers in 170 countries. Uncountable thousands of deaths. 50 meticulously orchestrated rapes, murdering pregnant women, burning little girls at the stake. Well, the costumes are nice, and it's got a really good story. A story that apparently couldn't have been forged without a woman's brother forcing himself on her as she mourns over her dead son's corpse. Are we sure that we need to adorn our cortexes with severed heads and gorge on orgies and torture porn? What portion of the human psyche are we satisfying here? Men can't have an opinion on abortion, but they can sure have an opinion on how to film rape scenes. Can we get another 4K in here, please? These breasts aren't lit well enough. Are we sure that we need to roboticize assaults? How can we hashtag #MeToo and hashtag sexualized savagery too? As if women don't have it hard enough without more hordes of men wondering how they would taste with some fake braids and as much persuasion as it takes. Many will say this is just fiction, it doesn't affect me. But these freshly cemented neural pathways would beg to differ. No matter how good the cinematography, the special effects, the narration, it was all intentionally engineered for titillation, to arouse our animal appetites, get our senses dulled in it. We already know about our sadistic impulses to pillage and plunder across the annals of history. And instead of trying to break that chain, we indulge in it. Maybe barbarism is not behind us, but within us. And they know they can manipulate us like a game of drones. In this game, they're not alone. I mean, they took the Karate Kid, turned it into Cobra Kai. And by the 4th episode, genitalia was hanging off a billboard so that, quote, parents that loved the original as a kid can watch this new one with their kids. Thanks for that. And does every movie remake have to get darker, more salacious, more jaded? What are we remaking ourselves into? And why do we exonerate misogyny as long as it slays on iTunes? And if anyone honors any kind of sovereignty and tries to put aside all these carnal conjurings, it just makes them a prude and fodder for mockery. Heaven forbid we hang something beautiful on the walls of these ravaged temples. It's a game they know, and a gift that keeps on giving. Even if that rapist eventually gets his due and is consumed by a dragon, that rape will drag on in the minds of 30 million people forever. And they say that violence and nudity is just part of the character's journeys. Well, rape culture is part of a lot of characters' journeys too. And my daughter deserves better. I am not immune. I've had a few Trojan horses ride into my brain and unleash carnage that I'm still trying to clean up. There's a reason we want to turn away from all the ew parts. And there's a reason we want to keep watching. The line between good and evil passes not between tribes or empires, but right through every human heart. Which side are we pumping blood into? Which fruits are we consuming? With whom are we communing? Obliging our vices is not the same thing as freedom. Look, I just think we have enough demons without feeding them. And the real greatest story ever told is how we rise up and defeat them. How we assimilate the armies of our ascension and take to the battlefield with a ferocity that no feudal civilization has ever known. Because what's better than conquering all the kingdoms of this world is conquering the beast within. That's the only way that we will ever truly take the throne.